It is currently the morning of the 1st of December 2019 in the Western Pacific, and Typhoon Kammuri, not much has changed with this storm system. It is slowly continuing to try to intensify out here just towards the east of the Philippines. Still plenty of outflow aloft towards the north here. We are still continuing to move over some rather warm sea surface temperatures, so as far as further intensification, I do continue to expect it. Nothing has changed, though, from 24 hours ago as far as the intensity. According to the Japan Meteorological Agency, winds of 80 gusting up to 115 knots, pressure currently at 955 hectopascals. This has changed, though. It has picked up its westward movement up to 20 kilometers per hour an hour, which we did expect a increase in forward speed, though, once that northeast monsoon started to interact with it a little bit more. One thing I do want to note, though, is that we are beginning to see a better organization as far as that cyclonic nature of this storm system wrapping around the center here. You can see that on IR imagery. It's going from one big blob located in the southeastern side of it to something a bit more looks like a typhoon, but it still isn't very pretty at all. But if we look through those higher cloud tops down to the lower level clouds, we can see that an eye is developing. Now, 24 hours ago, it was a little bit less organized, but it does look like an inner eye wall trying its hardest here to get its act together, and I do highly anticipate that inner eye wall to get its act together prior to landfall here in the Bicol region as we go ahead into Monday afternoon. Now, Monday afternoon and evening is landfall. Monday morning, we're going to start to see that interaction already, and I'll get to that in a second. First, I do want to note this is the Dvorak analysis over the past several days here, and you can see a general increase in the storm. This is where it just kind of petered out and just lingered stationary, but now that it's moving west again, we're starting to see it re-intensify, and I would expect this to continue to gain strength as it does move in that westward projection. So here's the latest track from Pagasa. Now, I'm showing you Pagasa because this is now inside this magical area that Pagasa lays out called the Philippine Area of Responsibility. For those of you who are not from this area, the storm, they also name it their own name. Don't get me started, but it's called Tisoy. Now, just prior to landfall, they expect this to come on shore right around about 2 a.m. Now, I'm saying Monday afternoon and not overnight because that outer eye wall is likely going to already start to interact with the coast by the time we get into Monday afternoon into the evening. And with this increase in forward speed, I think it might be a little bit faster than what Pagasa is saying. But this is the local official warning, passing just south of Manila as we go ahead overnight from Tuesday into Wednesday as well. Likely as about a Category 1, maybe Category 2 on the Saffron-Simpson scale as it does do that. All right, so here's the latest warnings from Pagasa. They have signal force warning, signal force 1. It goes all the way up to 5. I would not be surprised if we get into that 3 to 4 level, and maybe not 5. 5 is reserved to like whoa type storms, but hey, I wouldn't count it out. Signal force 1, though, for all of these locations. You can just see it on the map here. Do check out their Facebook page. They're updating this every about 3 hours, so if you're watching this 3 hours after from my uploading, probably outdated. Landfall likely Monday, though, afternoon into the evening in Bicol region. Dangerous storm surge possible on the northern side of this storm. Even though it is not your classic buzzsaw shape, it still is going to bring in that storm surge threat, as all of our friends just south of there in Samar and Leyte know. Storm surge can be very, very dangerous, and it does look like it's going to track south of Manila over Mindoro as we go ahead into into Tuesday. So here's a look at the track from the JTWC. Let's zoom in here, though, and this is where my concern really does lie. I'm gonna get this right. Lacanoi Bay, just on the northern side of that, we're going to get some of that flow coming in. Of course, the storm's going to wrap around as this comes through, and this is one of my concerns is San Miguel Bay. You're going to get some of that storm surge getting funneled into there, and there is a possibility of some decent flooding out there as well. Good news, it is moving north of Legazpi, one of the bigger metro areas here, but you're still going to be impacted by it as it does cruise on by. Let's take actually a different look here at this map and get you an idea of where we're talking about here. So you have a pretty famous volcano right in here, by the way. That's going to be staying north of that. Moving off there towards the west, a lot of these bays and inlets, though, on the northern side of that center of circulation, that's where the bigger issue, I think, lies as far as storm surge is concerned. But basically, this entire swath of cities and towns out here, which pretty heavily populated region, is going to be impacted by, at the very least, typhoon strength winds. So non-reinforced structures, definitely going to be looking at that threat of getting some significant damage here as it does move off there towards the west. If you see your name or your town anywhere on here, you're probably going to have some big impacts. You notice how I'm kind of leaning towards the north side of that track, though? The north side is definitely going to be the area that has the bigger impact. Tagaytay, I know this is a big volcanic crater, but Tagaytay definitely going to be looking at an impact here. Not as far as flooding, but the winds that scream across this valley and kind of get pushed up the hill there as well. I actually visited the radar station way up here, I believe, a few years back. So pretty elevated area right in there. And eventually, like I said, this is going to move off there towards the west. The track likely going to be moving just off the southwestern coast of Luzon or northern Mindoro there. But either way, regardless, this is going to put the NCR, the Metro Manila area, kind of in the right front of that. And you're probably still going to be looking at the very least tropical storm strength winds, but I would not be surprised you get typhoon strength winds in Manila as well. This is just look at the windy app, just one kind of key frame, what I'm talking about there with that right front quadrant. Just one more way of looking at it, and what we're talking about here is those winds, they wrap around, they push onshore, but also you have to take into account the forward motion of the storm, which acts kind of like a snow plow or just any type of plow, I suppose, and it pushes that water along with it, and that's when we start to see that threat of surge. Damaging winds, but also flooding is going to be an issue out here. And this is when I asked yesterday about if people, what kind of graphic they wanted. A lot of people asked about the total amount of rainfall, and I think this is on the low end of the scale. Actually, some of these areas out here could see as much as 400 to 500 millimeters, especially in here, Bicol region, basically southwestern Luzon overall. To put that in perspective, that is upwards of about 2 feet of rain. I mean, that's flooding and landslide to the max, and that's why already those signal force warnings have been issued for this area. So that's going to be a major issue as well. Do check out westernpacificweather.com. I'll post this same map there so you can kind of get an idea. This is, by the way, the GFS forecast. It's not an official rainfall forecast, but at this point, this model is going to be pretty accurate on what you can anticipate with it. Anyways, there's just one more look at the Western Pacific satellite. Yet again, like I said, big outflow to the north for this to continue to breathe. We have warm sea surface temperatures, and it is trying to get wrapped up there. I do not expect this to become a super typhoon. I want you to keep that in mind. That's off the table, but still a dangerous storm system, yes, especially in this part of the Philippines. Once you start getting a little bit further south, from my total experience with these storms, the further south you go, the more prone you are to a very damaging storm system. And not to mention, this brings me back reminiscent of Glenda and Remming. Very, very similar track out here. Yeah, so that definitely plays a role. If you take a look at history, it's just a very prone area for some damage. Also, looking back towards the east, you have 95, I believe. No, this is 96 because this was 95. Anyways, another low behind this. Keeping an eye on it, but I'm not all too worried about it at this time. Anyways, that's all my rambling. There's your tropical outlook for today. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please post them down in the comment box below. Also, if you have photos or videos that you would like to share, because I can put those in this video update for my next one, and I can share your reports, and we kind of get a little community thing going. That makes me happy as well. Anyways, So you guys have a fantastic day. And yeah, of course, as always, stay safe out there.